So, as you guys probably know just from the title cards and everything, this is Denser's his final reach Taj, and the main thing I kind of wanted to focus on with this edit was short and sweet, if that makes any sense. I didn't want to go super overboard with it because I feel like for finals, you want to do one of two things. You either want to just go all out 100%, have like the craziest effects, craziest whatever. But then there's also like that idea of you kind of want to keep it simple because if it's a final video, and for Denser it's 10 years in the making, you kind of want to let the game and the gameplay speak for itself a little bit. So I kind of tried to blend that a little bit. I honestly think I would have gone even less with the effects, but with the first song, which was Denser's choice, it was a very powerful song, so I had to go a little crazy here and there. But let's just start right from the beginning. So we've got some 3D track text, which I was actually surprised how well it turned out, mainly because I'm used to... I like doing more variety with my 3D tracking with text, like either I want there to be some masking into the next map, or I want multiple text to appear in one angle. But honestly, since Xbox released the FOV sliders, I've actually had a lot of fun with it, and it looks really cool. I think it's able to get certain angles that you wouldn't be able to get before. Like this, I think, is a really cool angle, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And of course, I added the glow, the orange glow, which I think really added to it. I also did a thing in at least the first and third shot. I forget exactly what it's called. Some of you editors might probably know. I went all in. Yeah, you did. But it's where the camera is pulling out this way, but I'm zooming in a little bit, so you have that like foreground background relationship. I forget what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, I thought that was cool, and I added a little bit of shaky cam to it. Another thing that's cool with the audio is because of how the song goes. Yo, Games, thank you for the 18-month resub. Holy shit, 18 months? God damn, dude. Yo, thank you so much, brother.
What's up, brother?
But if you listen to the sound, especially when it goes from AA to presents, listen to this. That whoosh sound is the song. It's the song. It's not even an effect I added, which was honestly pretty cool because I was planning on adding a whoosh sound to, add a little bit of, more dimension to it. And the song kind of did it for me. So I was kind of saying, it's in my description when I upload the Taj to my channel, which I'll probably do after this stream. I'm not used to editing to a song like this, but Denser really wanted it. And of course, like if he's paying for the project and stuff, I gotta make, gotta make the customer happy. No, but I'm not used to editing a song like this. It was a little bit of a challenge in the fact that, kind of like what I said earlier, I didn't want to go super overboard in the effects because I wanted the gameplay to show, but at the same time, it's a very powerful song. You gotta add some flashes and some glows here and there. So, what's up, Patrick? How you doing? Did the song add all? Shut up, Games. Shut the hell up. Anyway, let's get into the gameplay. So the gameplay, I don't usually talk about the gameplay too much because it's not my own, but from what I can tell and from what he's told me, this is a mix of 360 gameplay and Xbox One game, or PC. I don't know if I'm pretty sure he uses Xbox One. He's in the chat, so he can tell you. But it's a mix, which was kind of nostalgic, which is actually one of the reasons why I liked editing this, because there was a lot of Uncaged and Asylum and Pinnacle, and it's kind of what every Reach kid wanted when MCC came out and they didn't get. So, but I kept it pretty simple here at the beginning. I added a few. This is actually a Twitch effect. It's a Twitch preset that I manipulate a little bit, so it has a little bit of shakiness, a little bit of blur, and a little bit of glow or flashing. 360 and MCC, okay. But I've realized over the years that with like, if you want any shaky cam footage or whatever, for at least Halo videos, you want a little bit of color variation or brightness variation too, so didn't have to hate yourself editing Condemned. Lots of maps worth playing, oh yeah. But yeah, so that's all I really added to this clip besides the CC. I really liked this angle too, because what's interesting about this angle is, and I put a screenshot of it, and I'm talking about the reflection angle, is when you pause it, it looks like he's in focus and everything else is in the background. I didn't do anything to this. I cropped it, of course. I cropped it and I added some CC, but this is straight from the game, which is pretty cool that I didn't add any like masking or blurring or anything like that. This is just from the game, and it turned out really cool that it was all in focus. Yo, Kathan, thank you for the 12-month resub. Guys, thank you so much for all the resubs today. Thank you so much.
Chris Dance.
Anyway, thank you so much, Kathan. Had a little fun with Twixtor too, just because I have been editing Eli's Taj for probably 3 or 4 months, and the thing that's interesting about that is all of his clips are in 1080p 60 FPS, so I've almost never had to use Twixtor for his project. Maybe once or twice, but slowing clips down is pretty easy. So it was actually kind of nice to go back to Twixtor a little bit in this video, because it made me realize that how like much I don't know about Twixtor nowadays. God, I lost my train of thought there. Wait, so you're saying the song edited itself for you and the game did the effects? Take your name out of the title. Yeah, you're right. But this was a really cool clip. I really like the overshot there. And then this is a clip on 2. I tried to make it somewhat cool by adding the same text from the beginning, but varying it a little bit. Just having it go across the screen. Man, I can't talk. Every time I do this, I can't talk. But it's fine. It's fine. But add a little bit of flash. A few flashes there. Added a cool effect. This effect was specifically made because in the song it says all in, which is also the name of the song. But if you listen, so that's why we have this zoom in right here. And I've done this zoom in plenty of Tajes, and I'm pretty sure I've explained it in other Twitch or stream Taj breakdowns, but it's fairly easy to do if you have After Effects or even Premiere. But I used a preset just because it's easier and I already know how to do it, but I didn't have the time to actually mimic it. That's besides the point. Anyway, added this arrow here, which I thought was cool. Added a little bit of twitch and shakiness and some flashing, just because the tracking wasn't working super well. But I thought it still looked really cool. And it was a good transition to get down here. Then we've got the on 3, because this was a clip on 3, so we have this track to the wall. And then another thing, like I said with the Twixtor, is I haven't done masking like this in a while, so this was pretty fun to do. Pretty simple mask, not super difficult, but I had some fun doing that. Preset. Yeah, it was a preset. I literally got the preset, recreated it, and realized, okay, so I know how to recreate it, so I'm just going to use the preset then. That's what I did, games. Don't worry. Anyway, one thing that I think might not show up very well on YouTube, and it might not show up very well on the stream either, but as you know, when this song got kind of different, kind of getting close to the build-up, I made the background and some of the blue elements red, which I thought was cool. But one other thing I did, which I think if I were to change anything, I'd up it just a little bit, is I added a little bit of wave warp noise that you can kind of see. Like, you can kind of see right here if you look. And it adds a little bit of like grittiness to it. But like I said, I don't know how well that will show up on YouTube. But I'm pretty sure Denser's video is in 2K at least on his channel, and it definitely will be in 2K quality on mine, so it should look great. But we've got this clip. This is a really nice task. Definitely a really nice task. Then we've got this transition here. I really liked the shot on this clip. I thought it was awesome, so I thought it was a perfect place for the song to put this clip here. It's a little loud. So yeah. I thought that shot was great. I really liked this angle. I thought this angle was really cool. And I liked how I did the color. I tried to keep it somewhat consistent in this song, kind of have that bright orangey, somewhat reddish glow, which I thought was cool, but I thought this was a great angle. Again, using that FOV slider to change stuff a little bit. Not too much with the triple, but I like with this angle the transition here. And one thing I realized, which actually helped a lot to sell this, was adding just a little more shakiness. You can see it right here, adding a little bit of shakiness, because without it, it looks a little strange. Because those are some big beats and like some powerful beats, and I think it needed a little more shakiness to really add that effect, so that's what I did. Then a pretty standard flash, but enough to get the message across. Moving on a little bit because I know there's not a lot here. Another little effect where I deal with the brightness. Yo, what's up, Prowley? How you doing? Yeah, not too much on this clip, just a few other flashes and a little brightness here, but I think it did the job well. I think it did the job. I really liked the glow and the flashing on this. I thought this was great. But the other thing I liked was actually after that, and it was the just very subtle flashes right here that you can kind of see to transition to this. And when you listen to it, you can actually hear it's synced with the lyrics. So listen here really quick. When she says like "I'm the master," I think, or something like that, it links up with the lyrics. So I thought that was cool. I thought having him melee when it says boom was cool, but my favorite part of this clip, which I think Denser really liked, is the minute I saw this triple die, I realized it was the perfect place to do this. In the song, the girl says "huh," and it was the perfect place to put that, just because of how he's looking. He looks so dumb, so it looked like the perfect place. But if you guys listen, if you just focus on that part again, you can hear it right here. So yeah, I think it worked well, and what I like about that effect is it's very subtle. It's not overpowering anything, which I like. Little bit of a crop and blur and brightness effect. Again, nothing too fancy, but enough to get the message across. I tried to finish this Taj in a somewhat timely manner, just because I do have other projects, and I just wanted this video to get out because Denser's he was telling me that it's been like 3 years that he's been trying to get this out, so I wanted to get it out in a fairly timely manner. This effect is pretty cool, and I'll tell you right now, this is actually an effect that is going to be used a lot in Eli's Taj. But what it is actually is it's this entire clip, but scaled up, blurred with a glow. So that's where you get these really interesting, you can actually kind of make it out that this right here, this red thing in the middle, is just a warped version of this HUD screen. So if you were to like move this corner to right here, this corner to right here, this to right here, this to right here, that's what it is. So it's just, I guess there's distortion on this too, but that's what it is, and it makes a really cool effect. And you'll definitely see more of those in Eli's Taj, so that'll be pretty interesting. When are you making Prowley's final Halo Reach Living Dead montage? Anyway, so anyway, moving on. One cool thing I will say too, and this is a huge thank you to Denser, is he did cap a few angles himself and he sent them to me. Obviously, I didn't use all of them. I think all the angles you've seen so far I staged myself, but this was a great one that Denser got, and the other one that he got was this angle, which was a really great angle. So thank you for capping a few angles for me. That's why that angle was so good and looks so real. AC just jealous he has no nairs. But not much to say about this clip, but I did really like the glow on this Jaro shot. Again, did the exact same, like literally there's no change to this effect, but I really liked how, oh God, I pressed the wrong button. There we go. I really liked how it kind of made them like a red and blue mix. I just thought that was kind of cool. But added the little warp that you can kind of see. At least I think I can see it on my screen. I don't know if you guys can on yours. But this clip had me sweating. Yeah, don't worry, games. You're still safe for now. But this is still a great clip. Great clip. And I really liked how the how this looked. I don't know why. I just really liked it. One thing I've started to do a little more is, you guys know me all the way back to M4 days. I've been obsessed with color and with glows. But one thing I've really tried to do more recently is color manipulation, where it's less about adding color to it, but just manipulating the color that's already there. So I had a little fun with that, and you'll definitely be seeing that a lot more in future projects too. But I really liked how that looked, and then after he gets the shot, that's when the color goes back, and I add this little yellow glow on top to kind of match with the Tross metal, and also just to match with the theme of the song. And then we've got another cool thing here where he punches the guy and it kind of twixters, distorts a little bit, and gets really bright and shakiness, kind of like what the song's doing. This is probably one of the best clips in the video in my opinion. And did the same thing as the other rectangular mass transition, but again, the shakiness is what really added to it. And then we've got a nice glow here to finish it off. Kind of liked here that it was somewhat of the same. I guess it wasn't as on point as I thought, but kind of the same snipe animation. But I didn't want to go too hard here, just because on Pinnacle and just mainly Forge World maps, it can get really bright really fast. So I didn't want to overdo it, but I did want to make sure there was a certain effect for this POC, which was a great clip. And then for the last two clips of this video, I added a little more orange glow. It's a little bit horizontal too, so it's only going, you know, this way. But it's very subtle, but it just adds a little bit because this is the most powerful part of the song, I guess. And I'll tell you right now, thank you to Zonda. I was in ASD's stream a couple days ago and I needed help getting an angle, and he was fortunate to be there and help me, so thank you, Zonda. He had the privilege of sniping me and my guest as we were standing here so I could get this angle. But this was a great clip too. And then I actually really liked this angle as it kind of pulls away and then goes directly to the next clip. For some, I don't know how to explain it. It's one of those things where it's just the audio and the visual just kind of works together, at least in my opinion. I thought it sounded and looked really good right here. I think it's because the vocal gets higher, and as it gets higher, the camera pulls away even more and also gets higher into the sky. So I think that's kind of how it worked, but I was happy with that. Then this is probably where I went the hardest on the effects, just because it's the last clip. It's probably the best clip in this video, at least one of the best clips in this video. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that impact was shown. And then we have this kind of song transition on the last clip where it's a much more colorful purple, green, and blue were the colors I was trying to go for the song. And that's where it transitions to the credits / second song. Now, one thing I'll say is, is Denser, thank you for letting me use this song, because this was actually a very, very, very strong contender for either one of the main songs or a credit song for Memories. And ultimately I decided to go with the other song, I can't remember what the song's called, but this was a very strong contender for probably 6 months for Memories. So I'm glad that I got to use it, so thank you for letting me use it. I think it's a perfect song, it's a perfect send-off song, and especially for the shortness of the first song and you still had other clips left over, I think this was perfect, because this is a perfect mix of credits and gameplay as far as the song goes. You know, because there's very slow parts and there's very fast parts, so fitted very well as an ender song. Good, man, I'm glad. But anyway, I originally was going to go a little harder on the effects right here, But when I was thinking about it, it was kind of like what I said at the beginning of this. There's that side where you want to go absolutely all in on the effects, have it be the most grand, spectacular thing ever. But I decided ultimately to keep it fairly simple because it's Denser's final, and he's been playing this game for 10 years, and he might not ever play it again. Knowing us montagers, he probably will play it again. I'm just telling you, Denser, that's probably what's going to happen. But with that, you kind of want to look back and remember the game that you knew and saw. So I tried to keep it within the range of CC and fitting the song relatively simple to the original look of the game. So that's kind of why I went with a simpler approach with this CC. Now with this, my original idea was kind of to do a almost cartoon look, have this look more like a picture, and then have the credits roll. But the more I was adding like the cartoon or brushstrokes effects on like using After Effects, it just felt a little too, what's the word I'm thinking of? A little too common, not super creative. So I tried to change it up a little bit. So I added, I forget what this effect is called, but it add this little like outline, this really, really subtle outline to it. I did add a little bit of, I think I added a little bit of like brushstrokes or cartoon looks. I don't remember, but I basically made it so it's not super detailed in that regard. Then I added some noise, obviously. I do think if I were to change this now, I would probably bring down the noise just a little bit. Seems a little overpowered, and probably YouTube's not going to look that great on it. But I think it still worked out well. And then, of course, I added a little bit of glow and the CC to add in the background. But I like the idea of just zooming in and out on the flowers across the map because, and again, this Taj had a lot of Asylum, Pinnacle, Uncaged, and I felt that it was probably a good fit to have all of the credits clips be on Forge World because honestly, that's what Reach should be remembered for, is Forge World. I know a lot of people did not like Forge World just because of all the gray maps, but it is the prettiest, or at least in my opinion, some of the prettiest looking maps or scenery that you can get in the game. I think there's plenty of other pretty maps in this game, but they don't play as well, so I don't like them as much. But yeah, again, I think some people have already said this, but with the 360 clips, there's a sense of nostalgia there. So I wanted to kind of keep it somewhat nostalgic with the background. And then because this song feels more like a greenish, bluish, purplish color, that's why I went with the text having this color. I didn't want it to just be white. I didn't want it to just be black. And the orange theme that I used at the beginning, or the yellowish theme that I used over here, I didn't feel like fit really with the song. So that's why I went with that kind of text. So yeah. And then we've just got some of the gameplay that couldn't fit into the first song, or I thought was more credits worthy, in my opinion. But we just have that fairly simply synced, I guess. It wasn't overly synced. It was actually kind of funny because I kind of felt like Rob, Mr. Blonde, when I was editing this, because there were a lot of little cuts. And I think that's what Mr. Blonde was pretty known for, is he always had very consistent flow with a lot of cutting that for most people would seem kind of maybe jarring, but it was so consistent that it worked for him. That's kind of how I felt with this a little bit. I personally don't think I did it as well as Mr. Blonde, but I think that's kind of the vibe I was getting when I edited this, because when you think of the song, there's a consistent drum beat that is so prominent that you can't really avoid it when you're syncing with this song, in my opinion. At least with the way I synced it. Of course, anyone can sync it however they want. But yeah, then we've got more of these angles, and I focused on the yellow flower this time, which actually, I'll be honest, I spent a little time trying to find these yellow and red flowers. It was harder than I thought, because I had this idea and I knew that they were out there, but it was hard to find like good backgrounds and stuff. So I think this and maybe the last one were probably my favorite angles. But I had a lot of fun with these angles, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And then I also really liked this little flash right here, because I wasn't sure, like, I didn't want to go super hard as far as the effects or editing on the credits, just because it's the credits. You don't want it to like be overwhelming. But with this part of the song, I feel like there needed to be some flashes, and I thought black flashes would be a little too much. Um, and if I toned it down, it'd probably be too little. White flashes seem way too bright. And then randomly, accidentally, I unchecked the effects layer or the CC layer, and it went to the original, because this is the original angle right here, which I think looks great. And I just decided, well, what if I just use that for the flash? And it actually turned out looking pretty cool, to be honest. I thought it looked really cool. And then we have just a few more of his clips. Again, not too much editing here. It's really just basic syncing, a little bit of cropping here and there, and then a little bit of flash, a little bit of brightness and contrast, and then with the CC, of course. And a little bit of Twixter here and there. But again, kind of just felt like Mr. Blonde, which to me, that's not a bad thing at all, because I thought he was a great editor when he was around. But shut up, Games. But yeah, and then just finishing off with this really nice truss, and then we pretty much, the brightness goes up and it transitions to this exact same angle from the beginning, but it's a little slower, and the colors have changed, which kind of shows the transition from the beginning to the end of the video to show that there has been somewhat of an arc. This is the finale, and then it kind of just fades out with a little bit of opacity change and some blur. And that is pretty much the end of Denser's video. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed. I'm actually going to do this right now.